Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, the Notorious Fantasy. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a breakdown of Day 2 of the 2021 NFL Draft, and we're going to be discussing rounds 2 and 3, obviously, which was in Day 2 of the 2021 NFL Draft yesterday. We're going to be talking about all of the picks and the real-life NFL relevance, as well as some notes to fantasy football for some of the more fantasy-relevant positions, obviously, like wide receiver and running back. So if you guys do end up enjoying this video at any point, you end up having a great time, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. If you are new, if you're not new, you've been watching for a while, I really appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button down below. So without further ado, let's get into it. We begin with the first pick of the second round is Tyson Campbell to the Jacksonville Jaguars, cornerback out of Georgia. Now, last round, in the first round, which you guys can watch the recap on my channel as well, I was pissed that the Jacksonville Jaguars ended up drafting Travis Etienne because I thought that that was not really a position of need for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought that maybe they would end up drafting an offensive tackle at that pick. It just made a whole lot more sense. In the third round, they end up addressing the cornerback position. Is that the number one position of need for the Jacksonville Jaguars? In my opinion, no, but I think they will be very happy at the end of the day adding another young player to this defense. They have the youngest defense in the NFL. And while I don't think Tyson Campbell is necessarily the greatest player in the draft, at the second round value you got him at, you should be pretty happy with him as a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. At number 3, we have Elijah Moore, wide receiver of Ole Miss, going to the New York Football Jets. Now, as a football fan, if you're a Jets fan, this is the perfect move for the New York Football Jets, going ahead and adding another weapon to this team that is looking to develop quarterback Zach Wilson, who they picked in the first round. But for fantasy football, this is worst case scenario because I do not see this Jets offense being the greatest this year. I think maybe 2 years from now, the 2022 fantasy football season, Elijah Moore will probably show enough promise in 2021 that you're thinking about really drafting this guy in 2022 as a higher wide receiver. But based upon what I think we're going to see in 2021, I think this is not the best landing spot for fantasy football. I think that Elijah Moore will be okay, but for fantasy, I don't think I'm really going to be targeting Elijah Moore. Next up, we have a pick that I absolutely hate. The Denver Broncos go ahead and make a trade to get up to the number 3 pick at the second round, and they end up drafting Javonte Williams, running back out of North Carolina. Now, I hate it because they traded up past my Dolphins to take the guy that the Dolphins wanted, Javonte Williams. 2 fucking years in a row, there's all these stud running backs, and the Dolphins go to sleep and don't pick one. Now, I'm not even that mad about that. While I am kind of mad about it, I'm really mad because they don't need a running back. Denver lets go of Phillip Lindsay. Last year, they brought in Melvin Gordon, and I am thinking it is finally Melvin Gordon's season. He finally escaped the wrath of Phillip Lindsay, and now it is going to be go time for Melvin Gordon, but no, they end up drafting Javonte Williams. Overall, I think this is a bad pick for the franchise. I do not think they ended up needing to go ahead and draft running back here, and I definitely don't think they need to trade up to get a running back, so I do not like the pick for a team standpoint, team building wise, and I definitely do not like the pick for fantasy because now him and Melvin Gordon have been put in an absolute spin cycle. If Javonte Williams went to the Dolphins, if he went to the Falcons, if he went to the Jets, you would be absolutely blowing a load to go ahead and draft him in fantasy football, but now him and Melvin Gordon are going to be splitting carries. It's going to be like Etienne and James Robinson, where you're kind of just worried about drafting either of them. By the time comes in August, I'll probably end up making a decision which guys I like in each offense, but based upon right now, it's worrisome for Williams and it's worrisome for Melvin Gordon, so you really kind of hate to see that. At number 4 in the second round, my Miami Dolphins go ahead and select Javon Holland, Oregon safety. Now, when this pick originally happened, I was fucking pissed. I was so pissed. I was like, why did we take him over Morig? Why did we take him over Jeremiah Osu-Koramoah? What are we doing? What are we smoking? I would have preferred Christian Barramur. I'm getting fucking severely angry. But then it comes out that, Javon Holland was kind of worth the pick. He's not obviously a bad safety. Things come out about how Trayvon Moehrig has been dealing with injuries, so it does make sense. I would have preferred the Dolphins ending up getting Javonte Williams, but as a Dolphins fan, the more and more I thought about it, the more happy I was, and I'm just all right with this pick. I think the Dolphins defense is going to be dangerous, like Mr. Baker Mayfield when he wakes up in the morning in 2021. At the 5th pick, we see Landon Dickerson out of Alabama go to the Philadelphia Eagles. This makes a lot of sense. You want to go ahead and protect Jalen Hurts. Carson Wentz had a terrible offensive line last year, and then Jalen Hurts goes in, and guess what? It's the same offensive line. It's not the best, but Hurts obviously performed much better. That's why they got rid of Carson Wentz and sent him packing to Indianapolis. This is an excellent pick for Jalen Hurts to go ahead and be protected by Mr. Dick, her son. At the next pick, the New England Deflatriots move up to select defensive tackle out of Alabama, Christian Barramur. This is a great pick for the Patriots as this defense is looking to get even stronger. As a Dolphins fan, it scares me because I think that Barramur is going to be absolutely eating the quarterbacks that are going to be trying to throw the fucking ball, and Barramur is going to be all up in their grill. I love that pick for the New England Deflatriots. At number 39, we have a steal, in my opinion, an absolute steal. Tevin Leroy Jenkins, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State, ends up getting selected here a round pretty much late. He should have been a back half of the first round pick, and he falls all the way down here. The Bears already got Justin Fields. They waited and waited and waited, and boom, they traded up to get Justin Fields, and now they get Tevin Jenkins. Another great pick for the Bears. Maybe things are starting to change in Chicago. Probably not, but maybe. At number 40, we see Richie Grant, safety out of UCF, come off the board. Now, this is the point where everyone during the draft was kind of just so confused. What the hell did Trayvon Moehrig do? Did he pull the Dolphins guy who ended up doing it, whose name's escaping my head, where he's whipped out the bong, he's smoking that before the draft? Is that what just went ahead and happened? That's what I was thinking, but then it comes out that he obviously ended up having some type of injury where they're going to have to go ahead and worry a little bit about it, but he ends up going a little bit later. But it was interesting that they ended up selecting Richie Grant over him, but I understand when there's injury concerns, some teams just ain't fucking with the injuries. That's overall a pretty good pick schematically, but I would have rather taken the risk with Trayvon Moehrig out of TCU. At number 9, we see the Detroit Lions selecting defensive tackle Levi. Oh, no. I apologize if Levi is watching this video, because I cannot pronounce your last name. But the Detroit Lions make a good pick in the first round, an all-right pick here selecting a defensive tackle. But what you're going to come to find out is that the Lions did not, for some reason, think that they need to draft a fucking wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, and they don't end up drafting one, and that is very bad news bears for Jared Goff. Very bad. While Penei Sewell is going to be protecting him, he's going to be throwing the ball to literally Quintez Cephus. So that's great for him. At number 10, my Miami Dolphins get Liam Eichenberg, Notre Dame offensive tackle. Great pick. People are saying this is the guy that's going to be protecting Tua's blind side. Yikes. But I mean, maybe he's the best one that we got. Eichenberg seemed pretty solid out of college, so this was a pick to me that's kind of a no-brainer to go ahead and protect Tua Tagovailoa. They're bound to draft some offensive linemen in this draft. At 11, we saw Trayvon Moehrig come off the board finally after 2 other safeties go ahead of him. Everyone who bet on Moehrig to be a fucking first safety off the board, it seemed like it was literally a no-brainer. Psych with that. He ends up being the 3rd safety off the board. Great falling value for the Raiders, who ended up reaching early on in the first round for a tackle. At number 12, Kelvin Joseph out of Kentucky goes to the Dallas Cowboys. This is a very good pick because they actually addressed a very big need in that defense. The defense needs corners. The defense needs fucking everything. They get Micah Parsons in the first round at falling value after trading back with the Philadelphia Eagles, and they are very happy selecting Kelvin Joseph, cornerback out of Kentucky. Hopefully, they end up drafting a bunch more defense, trying to bring some defense in because it's going to be hard to win games. Even if your offense is scoring 7 million points, if the defense is breaking in half. At number 13, the Jacksonville Jaguars, after drafting Tyson Campbell earlier up there, they go ahead and try to get some protection for Trevor Lawrence to draft Walker Little out of Stanford, offensive tackle. Now, Walker Little is a guy that before last season, people are talking about how this guy might be a top 20 overall pick. This guy's one of the best offensive tackles, and then he ends up free falling down the draft board. Now, if I'm being honest with you, Jacksonville fans, wouldn't you have rather have had, instead of Walker Little, you draft Tevin Jenkins, then you just go ahead and draft someone else later to be your corner? That's how I would have preferred it, if I'm being honest with you. That doesn't mean that it's a bad pick, but I think that they kind of should have just drafted Tevin Jenkins. At number 14, we see the car man come off the board of the Cincinnati Bengals, selecting Jackson Carman, Clemson offensive tackle. Now, in my head, after Little goes and Carman goes, I'm thinking, what the actual fuck happened to Samuel Cosmi? Did Samuel Cosmi commit a mass murder before the draft or something? He goes a little bit later. It's already on your screen, but I was kind of confused about that. But hey, gotta go ahead and protect Joe Burrow. But I'm sure Carman was not what the Bengals fans were looking for. At number 15, Asante Samuel Jr., Florida State cornerback, falls to the Los Angeles Chargers. This Chargers offense is going to be fiery with the pick they made early on in the first round, and now they get Asante Samuel to shore up this defense. I love the pick. The Chargers are going to be very good this season. At number 16, Aaron Banks, Notre Dame offensive guard, goes to the San Francisco 49ers to protect Jimmy Garoppolo, right? It's going to be fucking Trey Lance probably 4 weeks into the season because the fans are going to be pissed. And, when you draft a guy at number 3, you're hoping he's going to play at least somewhat in the first season. And I think he will. Aaron Banks is just about an all right prospect at offensive guard. Again, I'm not someone who does some super fucking deep dive analytics into offensive linemen. I'm just not. So maybe Aaron Banks is the second coming of fucking football Jesus Christ, but I honestly don't think he will be, but maybe he is. Again, nothing to go against Mr. Banks. At number 17, an excellent pick, as they would say in Spanish, excelente. Rondell Moore, wide receiver out of Purdue, goes to the Arizona Cardinals. Perfect, as they would say, because Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and Rondell Moore. Oh, but Christian Kirk is there. Oh, Nick, AJ Green. Come on. Rondell Moore, the short king out of Purdue. This guy is scary. You get the ball in this man's hands, and he could take it to the house from any point on the field. I absolutely love this pick for the Cardinals. I think this guy does have fantasy value year one. How high will I have him ranked? Probably not super high, but I do think he's a guy that will probably end up being a very hot waiver wire pickup a couple of weeks into the season, as I see a whole lot of potential out of Rondell Moore, especially with head coach Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona. We're halfway through the second round of the 2021 NFL Draft, so if you guys have ended up enjoying thus far, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. At number 18, we had Darius Slayton announce that Azeez Ojulari is going to be the new outside linebacker for the New York Football Giants. Azeez Ojulari is a guy that I thought was going to go in the first fucking round of the draft, but no, he ends up falling all the way back here. A great pick for the Giants after kind of swinging, and I wouldn't say it's a miss drafting Kadarius Toney, obviously, because I think he's a very good player, but I still would not have taken him ahead of Rashad Bateman. At number 19, we have the Washington Football Team selecting Samuel Cosmi, offensive tackle out of Texas. He was a guy that 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, you would have penciled in as an easy first round pick. Then, as the time went on, choo-choo, as we got closer to the draft, then Samuel Cosmi is fading back. I'm like, all right, he's going to be a back half of the first round pick. He's going to be maybe the last offensive tackle off the board. No, falls all the way back here. Excellent pick by the Washington Football Team to bring in Texas boy Samuel Cosmi. At 20, we have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Notre Dame inside linebacker. I love this pick as well. I love it. I just love it. And I fucking hate that the Dolphins didn't draft him. I really do. That's who I wanted the Dolphins to end up taking. Instead, we take the safety out of Oregon. It's not the worst, But this is a really good pick for the Browns. I think the value there was very, very good, and I'm scared of the Browns as a fan of a team in the AFC. Next up at 21, we have the Tennessee Titans selecting Dylan Raduns, North Dakota State offensive tackle, protected Trey Lance in college, and now he's going to be protecting Ryan Tannehill. Personally, I would have put the Tennessee Titans as really needing a wide receiver or more pieces on defense over drafting a tackle. So I don't really love the pick. But when someone drafts a tackle, you can't say that the pick's shit, really, because the tackles just get a lot of time of like, oh, that was a great pick. And then like 3 years from now, if someone's like, oh, fucking Raduns, he didn't turn out. And then you're like, okay, whatever. It's not like a receiver. Like if you draft like a receiver and he sucks, people just hound you. You can never really make a bad pick when you're picking a tackle. At number 22, we have Deo Odibago. Sorry if I pronounce his name wrong again. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. I watched the guy fucking pronounce it on TV. I tried to learn it, and I still couldn't figure it out, so I apologize to you, Mr. Deo. Out of Vanderbilt, defensive end. Was kind of surprised to see this pick as well, as I thought that the Indianapolis Colts would be looking for wide receiver. I thought maybe a guy like Dwayne Eskridge, Tutu Atwell. I thought that fucking Terence Marshall would have gotten picked way earlier, and I thought maybe he was the pick there in Indianapolis. I was telling my dad, it's going to be Terence Marshall. This is an excellent pick for them. Same thing for Tennessee. They don't end up picking him, but, you know, it's just about all right. At number 23, we have a swing and a miss. Swing and a fucking miss. I don't know why the Steelers drafted Pat Fairmouth. They need offensive line. They need some more pieces on defense. So why are you drafting a fucking tight end when you already have Eric Ebron? And then you can just go ahead and just draft someone later and hope that maybe they are the correct answer there, right? Why waste a second-round pick on that? I just thought it was a little crazy. At number 24, we have Dwayne Eskridge out of Western Michigan going to the Seattle Seahawks. Another short king wide receiver. I don't love this pick. I don't know why Seattle wanted a wide receiver, if I'm being honest with you. I really don't. Now, Mel Kiper and the boys on TV were kind of trying to convince me that Dwayne Eskridge is really good. But while he might be good, I don't really understand the pick for Seattle, if I'm being completely honest with you. Next up, we got another team that I didn't think needed a wide receiver, but picked one anyways. The Los Angeles Rams select Tutu Atwell out of Louisville at number 25. This is the Rams' first pick of the draft. I think that was Seattle's first pick of the draft as well, as both those teams did not have a first-round selection. Tutu Atwell, that's a name that people have been talking about. That's a name that people are talking about could be a starter for the Los Angeles Rams. But again, I don't think that's really the position of need for the LA Rams. So I don't really get it. At number 26, we see a very nice pick, Nick Bolton out of Mizzou, interior linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs now at number 26. While I thought the Chiefs might be looking to address O-tackle even further, offensive line even further, they'd like to go ahead and bring in a linebacker. That defensive core was struggling against the old fuck Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, so I think Troy Bolton's brother, Nick Bolton, bet on it. A Wildcat himself is going to be very happy to go to Kansas City. I think that is a very good pick. Finally, the Terence Marshall free fall from the back half of a first-round pick, as many thought, all the way into the second round. Mono Man Sam has his fucking weapons. Something the Jets failed to give this man. Besides the fact that he had Robbie Anderson, now he's got Robbie Anderson. He's got DJ Moore. Wiki DJ Moore and Terence Marshall Jr. Sheesh. And Christian McCaffrey. Terence Marshall Jr. This is a great pick. Now. I know my friends who like the Carolina Panthers. They didn't love this pick, but now you're loading the offense for Sam Darnold, and if Sam Darnold fails, then you know what's up. He sucks. And then you can get rid of him. It's just that simple. Is Terence Marshall going to be fantasy relevant? Probably not as the wide receiver 3 on a team, but I think overall it was a very good pick. At number 28, we see Pete Werner, Ohio State interior linebacker for the Ohio State University. Goes at 28 to the Saints. The Saints picked 2 guys in the first 2 rounds that I didn't know too much about. Just didn't know too much about them, so I'm not going to judge them. I would say that that's an all right pick. But I would say they probably were pissed that Terence Marshall went ahead of him because I think they want to go ahead and get a true wide receiver 2 in New Orleans for famous Jameis Winston. At 29, we see Carlos Basham Jr. out of Wake Forest, defensive end. Another pretty solid pick for the Buffalo Bills. I think that the Bills are going to be looking to come back into the AFC Championship and do what they could not do last year. I think this Bills team is making all the right moves. I love that pick at 29. At 30, we see them go ahead and get rid of Corey Linsley in the offseason. So this is his replacement in Josh Myers out of the Ohio State University, the guy whose nuts are getting tapped by Justin Fields when he's calling for the hike. I like this pick for the Green Bay Packers. Don't know too much about Josh Myers, but I think that overall that was a solid pick. But I probably would have picked the guy going below him, Creed Humphrey out of Oklahoma. Also a center at 31 to the Kansas City Chiefs. I talked about how I thought they wanted to go ahead and get some offensive line, but they go Nick Bolton. Boom, at 31, they go ahead and address a big issue, which is the offensive line. For the Chiefs, if you watch the Super Bowl, it wasn't looking the best. But after making all these moves to get these other offensive linemen, this offensive line is going to be very nice, as Borat would say, in 2021. And what would be a very big surprise, in my opinion, at the end of the first round, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, select the heir to the Iron Throne, Kyle motherfucking Trask, quarterback out of Florida. Very happy for Kyle Trask as a guy that was heavily just dragged. I thought he was the quarterback 6. People are talking about Kellen Mond, Davis Mills, all these other guys. But Kyle Trask is the quarterback 6. Congratulations to Kyle Trask, the heir to the fucking throne in Tampa Bay. If Tom Brady does what he did to Jimmy G and Jacoby Brissett, Kyle Trask will at least start 1 year in the NFL. So congratulations to Kyle Trask, and congratulations to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as I believe Kyle Trask will be very good at the NFL level. Obviously, we probably won't see him for a couple of years, but I still believe that that is a good pick. Let me know down below. We're 22 minutes in this video. What do you guys think the best pick of the second or third round has been? At number 1 in the third round, pick overall 65, Andre Cisco, like the fucking TV, the internet company. Select Jacksonville Jaguars, select Andre Cisco, Syracuse safety. I mean, I guess, right? Like, the Jaguars are just building more. I thought that they would look to go ahead and draft a tight end in this round, but they don't. My Dolphins do, but they don't. I think this was a overall alright pick, as they need more defensive help in Jacksonville. At number 66, get your kicks on Route fucking 66, Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M goes to the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, this just in, I heard some news from him. He says he doesn't like that. You like that? No, he does not like that. He probably doesn't give a fuck, right? Kirk Cousins is going to be the guy this year, but maybe he is the heir to the throne in Minnesota. Next up, a guy who maybe was talked about going ahead of Kellen Mond, ahead of Kyle Trask. Davis Mills goes to Houston. This was huge. This tells me that Houston, we have a fucking problem. Because Deshaun Watson, apparently, he's done in Houston. Apparently he's played his last downs in Houston. Wow. Again, I don't know I don't know if he did it or not. I really don't. Because the fucking trial hasn't happened. If it comes out that he did it, he is the worst human being ever. Fuck Deshaun Watson, right? In that case. If he didn't do it, then it's terrible the other way. There's really no way to kind of figure this out until we see what ends up happening. But this indicates to me that Houston thinks that Deshaun Watson is done for, so they select Davis Mills. I believe Tyrod is the other quarterback there. Very interesting in Houston. At number 68, we have Jalen Mayfield, offensive tackle out of Michigan, going to the Falcons. Very good pick. I thought Jalen Mayfield had the potential to be an early second-round pick. Falls all the way to the third for the Atlanta Falcons. Very solid value there. At number 69, very nice. I like. They get a guy that I thought actually could have been a first-round pick, Joseph Osai, defensive end out of Texas. Great pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, but But, like, where are we protecting Joe Burrow? Like, Joe Burrow needs, like, a bunch of offensive linemen, right? Where are we protecting Burrow? Hopefully he's wearing a fucking Trojan in the fucking pocket, because that's the only protection he's going to end up getting. At number 70, we have Brady Christensen, the guy protecting Mr. Zach Wilson out of BYU, goes to the Carolina Panthers to protect mono man Sam Darnold. I like how they waited to draft an offensive tackle, considering what they got earlier on in the draft. At 71, we have Aaron Robinson out of UCF, cornerback to the New York Football Giants. It's okay. It's okay, nothing special for New York. They just didn't swing and miss. That's about all I can say about that. Next up at 72, we have the Detroit Lions selecting defensive tackle Alim McNeil out of NC State. Don't know too much about this guy, but what I do know is that the Lions need help everywhere, so regardless of who they picked, I'd probably say it was good. At number 73, we have Milton Williams, Louisiana Tech, Louisiana Fresh, fucking Popeyes, getting selected here at defensive tackle to the Philadelphia Eagles. I like the pick. I do, because I think that the Eagles need a lot of help, and I think the Eagles could be very good next season. But the best team, besides Dallas, I think, in this division is going to be the Washington football team, who selected Benjamin St. Juste, Minnesota cornerback. Washington continuing to solidify that cornerback room in Washington. I like it a lot. This Washington defense is going to be dangerous. At 75, the Dallas Cowboys select another guy whose name I'm not going to be able to pronounce. Osai, maybe his name is, out of UCLA, defensive tackle. The Cowboys continuing to address the defense that they need to help. Great job, Jerry Jones. Great job. Not fucking this one up. At number 12, in the third round, we see Paulson Adebo, Stanford cornerback. Saints, still not drafting receiver, but I understand it. There isn't that many great receivers left, except for Dyami Brown, who goes a little bit later, who I would have liked to go to the Saints, but you know, that's just me. At 14, we see Josh Palmer, Tennessee wide receiver. Not sure why he went ahead of Dyami Brown, if I'm being honest with you, so that's a swing and a miss in my mind. Chaz Surratt, North Carolina interior linebacker, goes to the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings, again, one of those teams that has a very young defense. I like that move. Malcolm Konsey, Buffalo outside linebacker. Don't know who he is. Don't know who Divine Diablo is either. So I apologize. I apologize if you're a Raiders fan and you're looking for some intense breakdown on these two guys. Don't know who they are. I know who these guys are. Have no idea who these two guys are. Now that could just be a slip of the mind, but it could also be John Gruden being John Gruden. But I'm going to give John Gruden and Mike Mayock the exception here and not dog him here. Hunter Long. My Dolphins select Hunter Long. No. Just no. I just don't like that pick. I don't think we needed a tight end. We have Gesicki. I mean, are we not going to sign back Gesicki? Hunter Long, you know, it's not a bad pick, but I don't like it. I just don't like it. I really don't. I think we could have went anywhere else. But we drafted fucking Hunter Long. 19, Dyami Brown, North Carolina. Excellent pick for the Washington football team to get their wide receiver 3 for the team. Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Dyami Brown, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Sounds beautiful. For fantasy, no. He's a wide receiver 3 on the team. None of these guys that went in the third round at the wide receiver position are very fantasy relevant. Like Josh Palmer, no. Dyami Brown, no. But I think he will be a good player in the NFL. I just don't think he's fantasy relevant. Tommy Tremble, other tight end, goes off the board. I like this pick because the Carolina Panthers don't have a tight end, really. They really don't, and I think that Tremble was a great addition out of Notre Dame. Next up, we got Chauncey Golston, Iowa defensive end. The Cowboys continuing to hammer down the fact that they need to build the defense. I respect it. Green Bay Packers, they do it. They actually draft fucking Aaron Rodgers as a receiver. Amari Rodgers out of Clemson. Great job. But will that be enough? Will that be enough? I don't know. Is that enough to keep Aaron Rodgers from fucking blowing up and going to go play fucking Jeopardy, be the host of Jeopardy? I don't know, man. I really don't know. Double Rodgers to Rodgers? Maybe. I mean, it seems like Rodgers is going to get fucking traded. I'm being honest with you guys. I thought it was impossible. And if I wake up tomorrow and he gets traded, I'd like shit myself because that's literally the craziest thing ever. It seems like he might go to Denver, guys. I mean, maybe I'm just buying into the hype. Maybe he just retires. It seems like he does not give a single fuck about, like, helping the Packers. He's like, dude, they have fucked me in the ass. They have not drafted me any of these guys in the first round. They drafted me Amari Rodgers in the fucking second round. Like, he's pissed. Understandably. 22. Amari Rodgers. At number 23, Wyatt Davis, Ohio State offensive guard. I love that pick for the Minnesota Vikings. At number 24, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting Kendrick Green, center. Finally doing something right, Pittsburgh. Finally doing something right. Selecting a piece of the fucking offense that you actually need. Running back 4 off the board, Trey Sermon of the Ohio State in San Francisco. Let me tell you guys, Trey Sermon is going to be good in the NFL this season, I think, because he is in the perfect system to succeed in San Francisco, because all these running backs always end up getting hurt in San Francisco, and some random motherfucker always ends up balling out. Trey Sermon is going to be the random guy who balls out, even though he's not random. I actually know a lot about Trey Sermon out of the Ohio State. I think he's a good running back, so should be pretty happy to get him. San Francisco, number 26, Nico Collins, wide receiver out of Michigan, to the Texans. Okay. I mean, the Texans, another team that just need everything. They just need everything, so I'm not going to dog the pick. At 27, the Minnesota Vikings select defensive end Patrick Jones out of Pittsburgh. Minnesota continuing to build up the defense. I don't really know too much about Patrick Jones. I know a lot about the next guy, though. Use the Schwartz. Anthony Schwartz selected to the Cleveland Browns out of Auburn, wide receiver. Now, is Odell going to eventually leave? Is Odell going to be gone? Jarvis? How long could he possibly be there? I mean, maybe they're trying to draft the future. They're trying to use the Schwartz. Don't think he's going to be very useful this year, but I've seen a lot of hype about Anthony Schwartz. So I like the pick. The Cleveland is really tearing this draft up. Tearing it up. If you're a Browns fan, you should be very happy. At 29, Monty Rice, Georgia, ILB. All right. Nice pick, Tennessee. Next up, at 30, Spencer Brown, Northern Iowa offensive tackle. Good pick again. Nothing too much to say there. Ben Cleveland, baby, out of Georgia offensive guard. I like that pick for the team who just lost one of their best offensive linemen. Robert Hainsley, Notre Dame offensive tackle. Don't know too much about him at all. But again, when it's an offensive tackle, you just smile and wave. Offensive guard, you smile and wave. Next up, Ronnie Perkins out of Oklahoma. I really like that pick for the Patriots, and I hate it. I hate that I like it because I hate the fucking Patriots. 34, Trey Mckitty. Excellent name, Georgia tight end. Love that pick. I mean, don't think he'll be very useful this year, but for the future, he could be very useful. At number 35, we see Quinn Meinerz, Wisconsin Whitewater. Is that a real school? Great pick. Great pick, Denver. Number 36, Nashawn Wright, Oregon State cornerback. Again, Dallas. Dallas is just hammering for the defense. They're like, fucking take my money. I want all the fucking defense. I love it. Elijah Molden, Washington cornerback, goes at 37 to Tennessee. That's another good pick. At number 38, another name I can't pronounce. Syracuse cornerback, Ifatu. Sorry if you're watching this again and I pronounce these guys' names wrong. I'm an asshole. At 39, Ambry Thomas, Michigan cornerback to San Fran. I like that as San Fran needs to continue to build more on the defense. That's already pretty strong defense, but seem like some of these guys are going to be gone in the future. Ernest Jones, South Carolina, go Cox to the Rams. An okay pick. Brandon Stevens, cornerback at 41, goes to the Baltimore Ravens. An okay pick. And my boy Baron Browning, Ohio State outside linebacker, goes to the Denver Broncos. So let me know what you guys thought about the second and the third round of the NFL draft. Did you have a fun time watching the draft? Did you have a fun time watching this video? If you wanted some fucking intense breakdown, you probably shouldn't have watched my video, but you probably had a fun time, I hope. If you had a fun time, make sure you let me know down below. I love you. I love you a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had a great day on Friday. Today is Saturday. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy weekend, and I'll see you beautiful bastards tomorrow with what should be another video that's probably going to be related to the draft. So have a great guys day. I love you guys all. Stay safe. Good boy.